Today we're talking about happiness. How I can be happier, how you guys can be happier. 6 keys to being happier in life. And I sort of paused on making this video for a few weeks because I went, you know what? This is a fighter channel. Nobody really cares. But then I remembered I did a video about 6 months ago talking about what it takes to be a good person. And that video was my #1 video for the whole month. So I went, okay, this isn't a fighter's channel. This is a martial arts channel. And martial artists are generally good people and people who probably strive to be very happy. So today you're going to get my take on what it means to be happy. Now I'm going to start up and be super upfront with you guys. This list of happiness that I have, that I've compiled, is not mine. I was actually watching a movie a couple weeks ago and it had this fantastic storyline, this fantastic list of keys to happiness. So I compiled the list. I threw out the ones that I didn't really like and I added the ones into a list of 6. So I can just summarize it for you and basically just go, this is what could bring a little bit more light into your life. And I will be sure to mention what movie this is at the end of the episode in case you want to go and watch it. It's on Netflix. It was, fairly predictable, but a fun movie. So let's jump in and talk about point #1 for keys to happiness. And the first one, I absolutely love it. Making comparisons can spoil your happiness. That is so true probably throughout the history of time, but especially now with social media. Now, I've never fallen victim to social media depressing me because you see other people having these great lives, but I actually have buddies who have had an affliction from basically going, everybody else is living this great, super wonderful life. Look at social media, fun, 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 and getting depressed looking at that. In addition, it would be very easy, even for somebody like myself, to go, look at all the belts I have behind me. That's great. But then I can go online, I can look at Conor McGregor and go, in addition to the belts he has, or he used to have, he is making so much money. He's doing so much better than me financially in terms of fame. And if I start making that comparison, it might depress me. But I never end up in that state. I go every day, I'm so fortunate for what I have. I'm so fortunate to have a YouTube channel with over 100,000 people following me. I'm just fortunate and I'm not going to compare myself to what others have. I'm just going to be grateful for what I've accomplished and for everybody out there who supports me. So in this movie, they point out, be very careful about making comparisons between how your life is going, how happy you are, and how happy other people are compared to you, especially if you're putting other people on a pedestal instead of going, wow, my life is great and I should feel so blessed because not everybody has a wonderful life like me. That's an okay comparison, probably, but the other way, it's dangerous and it's not going to make you happy. The next wonderful point from this movie was many people only see happiness in their future. And I love that. And it's something I'm somewhat guilty of because I'm happy all the time, but I also very often look to the future and I go, oh man, I'm going to be so happy in 3 or 4 years when I've done this and done that. And I've done this numerous times in my career as well. I win a glory belt and I go, okay, I achieved my dream, but in 3 or 4 years, I'm going to achieve more. And I'm looking to the future instead of sinking into the moment and just going, I should be really happy right now. So I think it's okay for me to do it because I'm happy now and I'm going to be happy in the future because of these new things. But if you are unhappy in this moment and only thinking happiness will come down the road 6 months, a year, 10 years, you're constantly going to be chasing that happiness and never reach it. And then at some point you're going to get older and you're going to look back and regret not really enjoying those moments. So take your time now and don't worry about how happy you're going to be down the road. Things are going to be better in the future. Right now, that's what counts. The next point is something you guys are probably already very familiar with, and it is many people think that money or power, more money will bring you more happiness. And there was a statistic out a number of years ago where they were saying basically if you were making in North America or in Canada, maybe it's not the case now with inflation just skyrocketing, but it was something $70,000. If you were making $70,000, the degree of happiness for anything you make over that does not go up substantially. And I guess they basically mean you have everything you need to live. You can live your life, you can go out and do things that make you happy. Having this abundance of money or maybe an abundance of power is not necessarily going to make you happier. People think it will, but when you stop and you really sort of sit down and go, how much happier would I really be if I had a fancy car? Like, yes, it would be fun for a few days, but is it going to make me happier? And I had to point that out to my wife because in the last house we were in, her and I were living in about 500 square feet. We did that for a long, long time. And the two of us got along great. We were always happy, no doubt, but she was always kind of going, oh, I can't wait till we get something bigger. Think of how happy we're going to be. And then we moved into this new place, which I'm in right now. And I don't feel any happier being in a space now where I have like 1,500, 1,800, I don't know, something like that, 1,800 square feet, extra space, multiple bedrooms, fancy new kitchen. Do I feel loads happier because of that? No, not really. I mean, I'm still the same person and the things around me, even though they're nice, don't make me happier. They're nice surroundings, but I was happy before as well in the small little space. So just keep that in mind because people always think power and money equal happiness. No, you should be happy without them. And then they're extra little bonuses, I suppose. This next point was actually quite interesting and it took me a moment to figure out what they actually meant by it. I kind of looked at it and I went, I'm actually looking at it right now. It's a mistake to think that happiness is the goal. And I went, what does that mean? Like happiness should be a goal, I guess. Like that's a good thing to strive for. But when you're thinking that happiness is the goal, you're not really going to be going, I'm happy in the moment. I'm happy right now. The goals can be so many things and they should bring you happiness probably. Like myself, I want to build a YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers. It made me so happy. Because number one, I'm giving back to everybody in the world, people who have supported me, people give me information throughout the years, now I'm sharing it. Or when I won my glory belt, so much work, so much dedication to achieve something, and it brought me happiness, but throughout the whole stage of trying to climb up and get that belt, and then eventually winning it, I was happy. I was thrilled to be doing that throughout the entire time. So instead of going, the goal is to be happy, find things that make you happy. And it's so much easier to achieve that as opposed to, I want happiness. I'm going to get happiness. No, just find what makes you happy, do it, and your life will be fantastic. The next happiness tip is something that my dad has drilled into me throughout the years, but it was nice to see it reinforced in the movie. I'm going to read it again because it's a little bit longer. Happiness is not attaching too much importance to what other people think. Now this, in some instances, could be misconstrued, I feel, but basically what I interpret this to mean is if you always look at what other people think of you, you're constantly going to be, you're going to feel under fire. You're going to feel like you're inadequate. You're going to feel judged. So instead, like there's some people, like my wife, I value her opinion. I value what she thinks. Just as my parents and my siblings, I want to be a good person in their eyes, doing the right things. But with everybody else, if you're constantly worried about what they think, it can just be overwhelming. It can be draining and it's going to impede your happiness. Know you're being a good person. Know you're doing what makes you happy. And then everybody in the world around you should be happy for you. And I know so many people on the channel are just like that. I create the content. They see I'm pumped about it. I'm inspired. I like doing it. And you guys are happy to come here and just support me partly because of that. Probably as well because I give you information that's important to you, but hopefully it's that support system as well. So you want people like that in your lives and you don't want to spend so much time worrying about what other people think. And the final point which is something which I cannot preach enough, which my dad drilled into me when I was younger, and that this movie mentions as well. It's very simply, happiness is doing a job you love. And most people out there should be familiar with that. Stop and think about how much of your day, how much of your life goes towards your work. You have to make a living. If you don't like it, so much of your life is just miserable. Maybe not miserable, but not enjoyable. And my dad told me years ago, find a job that makes you happy. Find a job that does not feel like work. And I've done that. YouTube channel, love it. Competition, love it. Teaching martial arts to kids, love it. My 3 main jobs, I don't think I would trade them for anything else. And I look to keep moving forward because they make me happy and I know it brings joy to other people. So if you're older, sometimes it's harder to make that transition to go, oh, you know what, I have a job I don't like. I'm gonna actually sacrifice some things, probably have to give up some money and go and find a job I love. And then eventually, hopefully you'll make more money because you're passionate about that job and you're gonna put more time in just because you like doing it. But for anybody younger on the channel, super important. Anybody that's like under 25, you got loads of time to figure out what you want to do and make sure it's something you love. I hope everybody on the channel enjoyed these 6 tips today on happiness. The movie I'm referring to can be found on Netflix. It is called Hector and His Search for Happiness. I believe that's the title. It's actually a book initially that was turned into a movie. So if you're more of a reader, you might want to go and check out the book first. I like to do that very often. I just watched the movie without realizing the book was even existing. So Hector and His Search for Happiness, all the points that I listed today came from that movie, although many of them I'd already realized or being taught as I was growing up from my parents. And then a couple of them in there, I went, wow, these are really important lessons, really important things for me to really register and make sure I'm doing everything in my day-to-day life to make sure that I'm a happy guy. And I can always just be a little bit happier by remembering things like I don't need to worry about what other people think, and by remembering I don't need to compare myself to other YouTube channels. It's hard not to look at other YouTube channels sometimes and go, what the heck? Like they have 1 million subscribers. I only have 100,000. What's up with that? But not making those comparisons, it's going to be good for me. So that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it helps bring some light and some happiness into your life in the future, if not right now. As always, guys, train hard, be happy, and I will see you back here soon for another video.